Okay. Um, I got an email from Lynn this week, and she has resigned from the committee.
That's too bad.
And so she's moving.
Oh,
She's moving out of Wildwood. She said it about a month and heading up to Gainesville. And I she sent a very nice email. She was very complimentary and about the committee, and I sent one back saying how valuable she had been to our committee, and how I mentioned that she kept us and me on focus. And so I think that's a legitimate comment. So she's going to be missed. She was an important member of the committee. So it makes our committee right now kind of small. Uh, the uh, the two other members that are listed on the committee are Tom Brady, and I talked to Tom recently. Um, I actually checked on his unit after Milton, um, and he and his wife have had some health issues. They did not come down here at all this past winter, so their unit has been empty for a while, and he wasn't sure what their future plans would be. Um, and then John West, I'm not quite sure why he wants to stick on the committee because he really doesn't have much to do with our actual meetings or anything like that. I think I did see him make a comment, or something on email recently, but that's about the extent of it. So I really would like to emphasize that we should be looking for some new people. So if you have anybody that you know that might be willing to be a committee member, why please encourage them to let us know.
what about I'm trying to find a name if it's going to jump out here at me. What about Dennis when he's in town? Dennis Lee,
Dennis would be great.
when he's here. I mean, I know he's not here all year round, but I mean, he's a great help when he's here.
Absolutely.
And I mean, even when he's up north, he could zoom in just like Jane does.
Sure. Sure.
If we could twist his arm to be a part of
I
this.
I will definitely ask him
Okay.
because he would be a valuable member, or his wife would be a good member.
Okay. And I know he's always helpful when we're trying to set up the mics and stuff, especially down at the church.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good suggestion. Um, Jane sent the minutes out. Let's take a look at those.
Yeah, I saw the email, but I didn't get a chance to look at them. Sorry.
I had it here somewhere.
I can bring them up now.
I have an extra copy here, if you'd
Ah,
like to see that.
Okay, that'll help.
That was a little hard for me to read, so I printed choice and fingerprints easy.
Are there any additions or changes to the minutes? If not, they'll stand approved as sent. One thing that I think we should add to, and I should have put this on the agenda, and I forgot to. Um, we didn't have a meeting in September, but we did approve by email a purchase of a laptop computer. And we need to, I think, put that in this month's minutes. That I've got the numbers here. the laptop was $875. We bought a mouse for $14.99. And we bought, I think you might have had the tripod in your minutes here.
Yes.
I thought so, yeah. Yeah, the tripod was also on that same receipt. We ordered them all together. There was about $64.89 in taxes. And so the total was $991.87 on that one purchase receipt from Amazon. And so that is something we had voted on it by email, so it's been approved. And the only thing I have to check on is I thought I purchased a 4-year extended warranty, which is kind of normal in my mind for when you buy a laptop or a computer for a business or for an organization. You want to have plenty of warranty on it. And I did not see that on that receipt. And so I have to check and see if that somehow got lost in the shuffle. It wasn't real expensive, if I can remember rightly. And if somehow that didn't show up, I'll have to go back. I do a lot of ordering from Amazon, so I have to come back through my orders. But we can always add that. And that's not something they allow you to add those kind of warranties, after the purchase. And the initial warranty is going to be good, I think, for a full year. So we should be all right in that. But let me check on that just to make sure that and I don't have the exact number of what that would cost. And we've used the laptop we're on right now is the new one. Dan and Roger used it earlier, and then we used it for a meeting this past week. We had a board meeting and we used the laptop then. And the only thing was we did have a little training session for Roger and Dan, and I had set up you have to set up a logon code for computers these days, and I had forgotten what the code was. Unfortunately, Dan had written it down. And so otherwise I'd never be able to open up the computer. So that's worked out. If we could, I'd like to go to the next item, which is the hurricanes. We've had 2 serious hurricanes here in the last month. And so I know, I guess I'd like to ask you, Jane, how well have we done in informing people like you about what's going on?
With Helene, it was quick. It was good. It was right there. Milton was a little longer for information to be put up. It was nice to have the pictures. I really appreciate, being able to see it with my own eyes. I'm just wondering why you didn't delete Helene when you put up Milton, but
well, I guess since they were close enough together, I thought we'd leave them both up for a while, but we'll start taking Helene down here shortly. The issue, part of the issue with Milton was we didn't have power.
Yeah.
And I was at a location that had power, but they had no internet. And so I can post with my phone, but it's cumbersome.
Yeah.
It's harder to do. And the other thing was, it was difficult to get an assessment from John.
Yeah. With his own difficulties.
Right, right. But you're right. We want to make sure we let people know as soon as we can,
Yeah.
what's going on. I myself, when I put up, in the announcements area, I don't know if I could pull that up or not. I put up a thing prior to Milton. Actually, I think I put up something prior to both of the hurricanes, but the hurricane for Milton, I put up a bunch of links to the county, to the state, to the feds. Uh,
I remember seeing it.
and I'm not sure if it's enough. I mean, I also put up a link to what we've suggested people do to prepare, but I think it's not maybe enough information for people. And so, what do you think, Jane?
You know what strikes me is that having the information bang right on the front page is it's eye-catching. And I wonder if there shouldn't be a link directly from that front page, bang, right in your face when you sign on to your lists and what to do. Even just what to do or links to the county or whatever. But people have to be thinking about it, and it's not right in your face in announcements.
Right. No, that's a good point.
That in
we
your
could-
face, Milton, Hurricane Helene was there. I didn't have to look for it. It was right there when I signed on. And I wonder if for super important stuff like that, we should have a more right at the top. Right in
that
your
makes
face.
sense. That makes sense, and I could certainly put a link to what we showed in announcements on the homepage. So that you click on that link and you would go to announcements.
Yes. Yes,
Right.
but it would say what, Hurricane Milton or Milton, what to do now. Something, something emphasizing the immediacy of it.
Right.
I think she makes a good point, and I've seen, I think for just about all of the banks that I work with and the investment companies and so forth, as soon as you log on, they've had a little banner at the top about the hurricane.
Yeah.
It's just a single sentence
Right.
about the hurricane, and just so it catches your eye
Yeah, put that over
right
there.
off the bat. And she makes a great point. I think that would help, and that would guide people rather than having them search for the announcements. I mean, it could take them to the announcements.
Yeah.
But something, to say, this is happening and you need to take action.
I think I'm pretty sure we can do a banner.
A secondary banner below our normal banner?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so. We haven't ever done that.
No.
But I'm pretty sure that's a possibility that we could get a banner going across basically every webpage that would emphasize
I think though, as Jane said, when you log in and it throws up that homepage,
right.
if there was just something there, even it was just, like she said, Hurricane Milton with a link to click on,
Right.
it would take you elsewhere, but it at least says, oh, this is important. I better look at this because it's right here.
Yeah.
I agree, Jane.
Yeah. I think
Thank you, Roger.
I think that's important. Good point. The pictures were pretty amazing, weren't they?
Yes.
I should have sent you the one from inside my
Yeah.
inside my Florida room
Yeah. Well,
that Dan helped me clean out.
I added one just in the last day or two, and it was Gina Smith, I think, that sent it, and I think John had told her to send it to me, but she's standing next to a banyan tree, and she's tiny.
Oh, but on the root bed after okay.
Yeah. So
Yep.
it's the last one I've added to that.
Okay.
And it's quite a spectacular photo. We had something that I was very happy with. It was quite amazing. We had neighbors, who, had a generator and they did a big cookout for all of our neighborhood. And we had 25, 30 people there. And they had cooked chicken and scallops and stuff like that and made salads and it was just fantastic. And then they did it for another 2 nights in a row. And it just was really nice because it was people that hadn't always socialized together, but everybody came together and it was really good. And I put some pictures up of that, some photos of that. What we probably don't show enough of are the number of fences that are down. There are dozens and dozens. And in almost every cluster, there's at least a few fences are down. Some of them, I noticed one in Lakeside where she's one of the few places where there are 2 walls to their fences because she's on a corner.
Oh,
Both of those came down. And then I think it's hard to understand how much carport damage there was. The amount of sheet metal that came off of the carport ceilings was substantial. And it was in almost every carport as far as I could tell. And my wife Kathy's car was damaged considerably. And so we're now looking at new cars and at new used cars because they have our insurance has totaled her car.
really? That much?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
My damage was 5,000 on Linda's car,
Okay.
and my neighbor's was 8,000 on his car.
And Lynn over by
there
us
was
was 7.
Yeah, hers was 7.
Yeah,
And
and
that's
I've
in
heard
one-
other
one
ones in that.
carport.
And to be quite honest, we considered keeping the car and having it painted. But the amount they would give us for totaling it was
Better off.
a pretty good, actually a very good price. And so we think that I think Kathy wants to buy another one. So the cleanup is still taking place. One of the things that I think was important to note, Dane, is that they are trying to take the big banyans and stand them up. They're cutting the tops out of them and making them almost no canopy whatsoever, but standing them up in the same hole, they think they'll regrow. And
Wow.
so that's a major change from what we've had happen in the past. In the past, we cut all those big canyons up. And so I mean, we got to hold our fingers crossed, but if that would work, that would be quite amazing. Now, some people think we shouldn't try to save a banyan. I'm of the opinion that anytime you can save a tree, you save a tree.
Boggles my mind.
It's quite remarkable to see it. The next item we just I've already discussed, and that was the committee membership. And so we want to sort of be looking for new recruits. And they don't have to be real computer people. I mean, they really don't. I mean, it's more a matter of being able to take a look at the website and sort of determine how well is that helping you and how well can we make it work better. So that's you know, the computer stuff, I do that. So
It wouldn't hurt for a backup for you.
Well,
This is what we have to
actually,
proactive about.
that's actually the next thing. I really, actually, it's down two from the backup host, Zoom host. But yeah, I do think it's I'm getting to the point where I'm starting to think about maybe not wanting to be doing this every day. And so, we do have to start looking at people that might be willing to, at least help out. And Jane is an administrator now on certain parts of the website. And I could certainly expand your duties, Jane.
Okay,
Well, that would be great. If we could have you help out on some things that, I've been doing, why, it would help. And I know at some point the the person in the office would be one of the people that would be able to do that or help with that. But at this point, I think right now, it's my understanding that we had two people working here and now we have one. And
We're back to one.
yeah, I think they're
Roz
looking,
left.
yeah.
Oh,
And-
okay.
And I think John's looking for somebody else to help.
Okay.
So, but they are on the phone a lot.
They are.
They,
A lot of interruptions.
yeah.
A lot of
yeah,
interruptions.
Very hard to get some of these things done. Now, I will say this, that John has been trying to do some of adding a document to the website. And it's been a little bit hit or miss. There's times when it works. He hasn't done a lot of it, but he's been trying. And there's times when it works, and there's other times where he'll email me and say, I can't figure out what I did wrong, and I go in and look and usually figure it out. But it's one of those processes, like a lot of processes, that it's not, it doesn't seem to me that it's complex, but there's enough steps that it's not as easy as I think it is. But I do it all the time. And if you don't do it on a regular basis, then it does become sort of, how do I remember how to do that?
Right.
You know? And even if you write it down, it's still easy to miss something.
And to be honest, that really shouldn't be his job.
No, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I did have a meeting with Dan and Roger, before I had left for a little, R&R, up in Maine for a week. And Dan and Roger, I showed them kind of how to run a Zoom meeting and, how to set up the equipment here in the office. And, they had a meeting while I was gone with the Spectra people. And you had
Had
trouble.
one technical
You had a
glitch.
bit of an issue with getting it on.
Getting it onto
But
the-
that's because somebody had done some changes to the television screen, and so it's easy to put that up as it might have been. But there weren't a lot of people on Zoom. There were only maybe two or three. I know I came in late in the meeting, on Zoom, and
There weren't
I was
very
able to
many.
hear.
There were only a couple.
Yeah, I was able to hear the gentleman talk,
Yeah.
and so that worked out all right.
The one thing I thought that he didn't get across was the deal with the DVR. Where you could have the one hardware DVR or two Zumo cloud DVRs. You couldn't mix them, but you couldn't get one Zumo and one hardwired.
Okay.
You could get
It
two
has-
Zumos
Has to be
or
one
one
or the other.
hardwired,
One or the other.
one or the other. Otherwise, you pay for the additional.
I think that we have to clarify that, but when I talked to the woman and asked her for a Zumo and a DVR box,
They'll give you one Zumo and one DVR. But they won't give you two DVRs.
okay,
They will give you two Zumos.
right, Okay. Well, I think one of the things we need to do, in fact, this was one of the other items I wanted to add to the agenda is the spectrum situation. We're in sort of a transition month right now. Our technically, we started October 1 with the changes, but they aren't really going to make all the billing changes until November. So there's some time right in here where you may be getting some billing that they may refund. I'm not sure exactly how that's going to work. I know, James, you had some questions about keeping your DVR box, right?
Yeah, I think my confusion is that this came out of left field for me. Number one, I had no idea it was under discussion. Number two, I had never heard of a Zumo box or whatever it is. I was just hit with this and had no idea, what the procedure should be.
Jane, how many boxes
I have-
do you have?
I have the one supplied box plus a DVR.
You won't be getting any bill then. Starting November 1st, you won't get any bill for the DVR.
Then, do I have to take that DVR back?
No. No,
Because that was another
automatically they'll
point of
stop billing you
confusion.
for it.
Oh, well, that's just fine. They can stop billing me anytime.
If you want to change your regular box to a Zumo box, you can do that for no additional charge. Zumo will give you DVR in the cloud storage.
Do I want, for my 3 months of the year, do I want the hassle of learning a new system?
Do you have any type of streaming box like a Roku or a Fire
No.
Stick?
Nope.
It's
Nope.
really not that complicated.
Well, I actually ordered a Zumo box in addition to my 2 regular boxes on Monday, and they arrived on, no, I guess it arrived
The
Wednesday.
day after.
I ordered it on Tuesday, arrived on Wednesday. And I'm gonna try the Zumo box just to see what it's like. And I think what we need to do as a committee is try to get as much information out there as possible. I asked the woman I talked to, is there a manual coming with the Zumo box? Yeah,
And I'm just thinking about that Zumo box. As I understand that, you get the Zumo box. If you have 2 Zumo boxes, you can store in the cloud. But if you have a hardware DVR, I'm not sure you can record in the cloud without paying. You can use the box, but I'm not sure you can record on that Zumo box. I'll have to try that.
well, that's what we want to find out.
I'll try that when I
That's
get
what we
home.
want to find out. We want to have as much information as we can to put
I
on
haven't tried
because
to
people
record on
are
that.
confused. There's no doubt about it.
It was
And
confusing.
the woman sent me a link and I haven't looked at it yet for the manual for the Zumo box. And so I want to put that on the website. I want to put as much information about what you can and can't do as on the website for people because we're going to get plenty of questions. And in general, I would say that this is a pretty good contract. I'm sorry that you didn't know more about it, Jane, but we signed this contract back in June, maybe.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I think around June or July, the board signed a new contract with Spectrum. And it is, I mean, the thing that was in my mind, the board had looked at 2 fiber optics companies, and they had
Yep.
presentations from both of them. And then Spectrum came in and gave a presentation, and the thing that knocked my socks off was they dropped our monthly price by $10 a month. And that's a substantial savings. And so, when I did calculations for a 4 or 5 year contract, we were gonna save almost $400,000 with this contract. So I thought, this is a no brainer. But, we do need to give everybody more information about what you can do. These new Zumo boxes are better. Were you able to look at the video of the presentation by Spectrum, Jane?
I watched part of it, but a lot of it went over my head. But I just think that I'm fairly representative of your basic person who doesn't really keep track of what's going on. And, or your seasonal people who, aren't on the ground chatting with their neighbors about what's happening at the office kind of thing. And, I was just like, what is this? What are you talking about? I've never heard of these words before.
Disappointed in that the Spectrum man covered mostly Zumo when he should have been talking about all the possibilities that people have.
Yes, and he didn't do
And I
that.
don't think he did that.
He did not.
No,
And
No.
so I thought he could have done a better job of explaining what you can and can't do and what you're gonna pay if you do this or what you're not gonna pay if you do that. And I know some people still have a landline with Spectrum. And as far as I know, yeah, and you're still gonna have to pay for that, right?
Yeah.
From my
Yeah.
understanding.
Yeah, my cell phone doesn't work in my condo. So,
it's weird.
And you're not the only one. I also think that they should, and we'll put more information about this on the website. But we did get additional channels. We got HBO Max, about 12 channels or so, and we got Cinemax, which is
Yeah.
another 8 to 12 channels.
Yeah,
Actually watched
And Paramount Plus.
watched a couple of shows recently. And we do have Paramount Plus, but I'm not quite sure how to set that up.
You have to set that up on the Zumo box or on if you have a smart TV, you can
You
set
can do
it
it
up
on
on
there,
there.
but you can't do it on your cable.
No,
Okay, because I've looked at where it is on the cable and it says you
have
it's not
to,
available,
Yes.
something like that.
you have to go either on
Yeah.
a smart TV or on a streaming box.
Okay, so that's something, again, we need to explain to people.
Yeah. there's no point in
So,
saying get Paramount if they don't have a Zumo box. There's no point in even saying it.
Yeah, you can with,
You can with any streaming device or a smart TV.
Yeah, I have neither.
Possibility, I think, I'm not sure. But one of the things that while I was out of internet, during Milton, it didn't occur to me until several days after into the situation that I could go on my phone
And watch all
and
the
get on
channels.
Spectrum TV on my phone.
You can.
And I could watch a lot of things that I wanted to watch and didn't think I could by going on my phone. And you can do the same thing on a computer. You can log into Spectrum TV and you can see, I don't think you get every channel, but you get most of them.
Most channels.
Yeah.
I
So-
wouldn't think you could do it on a PC if you don't have internet, but you can do it on your phone with cellular data.
Yes, you're right
Right,
you're right. You do have to have internet.
You can hotspot you can hotspot.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. Well, again, I was able to do it on my phone without, the tower, coming off the tower. And it worked
I was
fine.
interested, sorry.
No, I'm just saying it worked. So that's something we need to maybe emphasize that people can do. I know one of my neighbors, he gets, he lives in Rhode Island, and he uses his Spectrum app up there. So he can watch whatever's going on Channel 9 in Bradenton or in Tampa, wherever he's at. So it's something we need to probably, especially people like you, Jane, that are somewhere else during part of the year, could certainly tap into that my Spectrum or your Spectrum TV thing.
I believe it doesn't work in Canada.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. I remember checking it a long time ago. I haven't tried it since then. The truth is I rarely watch TV, but
Sure.
I was interested in the guy talking about the wires behind the units, because mine is still on the ground.
Mine too.
I have my orange wire, and it's been there since they put it there. How many years ago was that, Roger?
I think mine's been there now close to 3. It's
Yeah.
not my wire, it's for one of my neighbors, but it runs right across out my back door. And it
Yeah.
happens to be black, not orange.
Mine's orange, but yeah, it runs through the bushes behind
Yep.
my wall, and then across the little threshold for my gate, and continues on somewhere else. I don't know where it goes or what it does, but it's sitting there on the ground for all to see.
I remember seeing them put that in, Jane. I remember when there was a Spectrum, and it wasn't a Spectrum guy, it was a third-party provider that
Yeah.
Spectrum had, and they were putting a line in behind your unit there.
Yeah,
And why they don't bury it. I mean, one of the things that the board emphasized when they signed the Spectrum agreement was that Spectrum had to come out and do a lot of the sort of maintenance issues, like burying wires, that they hadn't done in the previous 5 years. So I know John said that they had done some of that, but that they certainly hadn't done all of it. So we do have to keep their feet to the fire on that.
but the thing is, who knows about my wire except me?
Well, I thought that John and Steve did a bit of a survey when
Well-
they were trying to figure out what they needed to ask Spectrum to do, and that they had tried to take a look
One
at
wonders if a bit of a survey is adequate.
that. Yeah. You got to go behind a lot of units.
Jane, I send a reminder, work order every now and then.
Oh, do you? Okay.
I do. Nothing happens, but I send it.
Well, no one can accuse you of letting it fall like I have.
I'm gonna list, some of the other Canadians I know to see if they can get the Spectrum TV app to work in Canada. I'm guessing, I suppose it's possible it won't, but I'm not sure
Well,
why it should.
I'll give it a shot later today.
Okay. Let's see, what am I doing? That's about it. I don't have a whole lot of other things unless somebody has something else they want to bring up.
I think just that we need another training session to see what we missed in our notes
Right,
to do
We
that.
could do
Right.
that.
I'm also thinking that the next board meeting is going to be at the church, and I think we need to go set up
yes.
and practice, and I'm not sure when is a good time to do that, but we can't do it an hour before the meeting.
No, you're absolutely right. I would like a day or two before the meeting.
So the meeting is going to should be November 18th.
Right.
So before we get to that date, I'd like to get in there and make sure, because we got everything all put away and he's got it back out again. And I reminded him, I saw him last night or yesterday, I was at the office and I reminded him, I gave him the date again. And I said, we're gonna need to make sure everything's working. I'm also working with him, not just for us, but for the church itself to put the sound baffles in there.
That was mentioned in our minutes here.
Yes, and we're looking into that. He's now getting prices he said he can do it himself. And he's also getting a professional price to see which way might be the best for the church to do that, because that whole room echoes all the time.
Yeah.
And it needs some sound. We put over 40 of those absorption panels in the sanctuary stuff. I think it cost us $40,000.
And it made a big difference.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, they're all the way around on the wall from, top of your head to the ceiling, all the way around. Those, cushioned panels on the walls. So yeah, we're looking into some of that to make it better. But as far as we're concerned, I want to be sure we go in and practice with all the speakers and the microphones and whatever else we want all set up ahead of time.
Absolutely.
Will you let me know when?
Yeah. One of the things I mentioned to Dan was that when we take a look at next year, one of the things we might want to consider is a new video camera. The camera we have has been a good camera, and we've been using it now. I think we've probably had it for at least, I would say, 6 or 7 years. But the one drawback is that we no longer can feed that camera into the computer to show it on Zoom.
Right.
And we used to be able to do that,
Mhm.
and we used to be able to connect that, and we haven't been able to do that. And so that's something to at least give some thought to once we get into next year's budget. One other thing I thought about as we were setting up today, that is we need a longer cord, longer USB for this microphone. So that when I'm sitting where you are, Roger, we can get that way
Yeah,
over
over
here in
there.
the middle of the room.
Yep.
And we need a slightly longer cable to do that. We can either buy an extension for this one, or we can simply buy a new cable. So
How good does it work if you buy an extension and you have two USBs connected? Does that connection weaken the signal?
I don't know. It shouldn't, but you
If
never
you're buying
know.
a, might as well buy one that's the right length.
Yeah, I think that's probably the better way to go.
They're not that expensive.
Yeah, they're not cheap. They're not very expensive. Do we need a meeting on November 22nd? That would not be the last Friday of the month. That would be Black Friday. This would be the 4th Friday of the month. And the question is, do we need it? A lot of times we don't meet in November or December. So the question is, what do you think? We can schedule it and play it by ear, or we can then we can go on.
I think we should schedule it. We might spend time critiquing how the 18th went.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Okay, we can do that. Is there anything else?
Yeah, I just had another thought with regard to the committee members.
Right.
What about the two folks that do the camera for us? Leslie and I can never think of his name.
Tom
Tom.
Coolyard.
Yeah. Well, can we get them to participate in our committee?
Certainly can ask them. Yeah.
I mean, they are helping, they're participating at the
Yep.
meetings to
Yep.
run the cameras.
Yep.
Maybe they should be here and have some input.
I would say this, that Tom does a lot of traveling, and he may not want to do it just because he's not here a lot.
Okay.
They go on cruises and do I mean, they're gone maybe 5 or 6 months of the year.
Okay,
Leslie, on the other hand, will tell us that she has no computer background or experience, but she certainly could give us ideas about how the website's working and how she interacts with the website. And she would be a user who does have, not real computer savvy,
right.
which is more of our typical user. And so she may be willing. I'll certainly ask her.
Okay. That was my only other thought that
Okay.
came
No,
to me
that's
as we
fine.
were getting to the end here.
Yeah, and I can ask Tom. Tom might still be willing to do it. I know he's on the building committee and he might be on one other committee, so,
Okay, well, we don't want to overburden anybody
Right.
with committees.
so. Anything else? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
All right,
Second,
moved and seconded. Jane, thanks a lot.
good to see you, Jane.
Thank you. Good to see you.
When, coming after Christmas or before?
No, not until the end of January.
Okay, all right.
So I'll be along then.
Okay. Well, hopefully we have a woman president.
I hope.
Not my department. Not touching that one.
No,
Not your country.
no, not
Not
our
my country, not my problem.
We've already said we might have to move to Canada.
You're more than welcome. 50 degrees today.
Oh, no, that's not for me.
We've had some real nice weather here since the hurricane. We've been
That's
in
been
the
good.
Oh, it's
70s
been
and
beautiful.
90s, and it's been very pleasant.
That's
Bye
good.
now.
Bye now.
Bye. I'm gonna check that as soon as I get home and I'll send